Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unfiltered Flow ELSC, the podcast dedicated to the progression of the fluid power and automation industries. I'm Meghann Cook. That's Alan Burdette. Today, it is our pleasure to welcome Mr. Jason Becker to the show. Jason is the Vice President of West Coast Operations at HYDAC. Hi, Jason.
Welcome and a lot.
Good to have you. Thanks for joining us today, taking some time out. We appreciate it.
Oh,
Sure do.
absolutely. No, it's good to be here.
Okay, so our favorite question, and always the first one, how did you get into the fluid power industry?
Yes, so I've been in the industry now for 44 years. I would say it all began. I grew up farming, so we were around obviously tractors, hydraulics, and back then we worked on our own equipment, tearing down gear pumps, cylinders, rebuilding, etc. But I was fortunate to have we had family friends that at the time had gone to work in Minneapolis at a fluid power company. So I spent my junior and senior year of high school working the summers. Back then it was Fauber. So I got exposed a little bit to, the industry, inside sales, outside sales, the repair side of it, et cetera. And then from there, here I am today.
44 years. You
40
don't look nearly that old. But obviously in 44 years you've seen a lot of changes in the industry, Jason. What are the biggest changes you think you've seen in the industry in that?
Yeah, so I think what I've experienced over time is, well, first of all, I would say distribution. So when I got out of school and went to work for a distributor, I would say looking up, where I was at on the West Coast and throughout the country, these were all privately owned small distributorships. And I think, if I look at what we did, I would consider a full service distributorship. So we did, engineering, field service, we had fabrication, et cetera. And what I've seen over my tenure, I guess, if you will, is the individual distributorships have been sold off. We've seen a lot of consolidation. More and more distributorships are being, consolidated. There's been a lot of private equity money, but I think the biggest thing that I've seen is the lack of services. What I see today is a lot of distributors want to sell components, and some of the engineering services have diminished. I would say some of the repair capabilities have diminished. And I think today, if I look out there today, even out west where I'm at today, we have very few companies that are privately held.
Yeah, it's definitely been a change for sure. So, in all your years of doing business and outside sales, what is one question that customers should be asking but rarely do?
They need to quit asking about the cost of things, number one. No, I think maybe it's some of the new technologies. I mean, what I think the other thing that has changed over the years, I mean, when I started, we were a lot of gear pumps, there were some piston equipment, but it was growing, right? Load sense and some of those things. And I think as we've progressed today, the advent of electronics is huge. Efficiencies have improved, the electronics have improved. It's all kind of been integrated in the mechanical workings of hydraulics. But I think one thing that we experience is customers tend to know what they know and get, like all of us, kind of get caught in a rut. And one of the things we're really, I would say, focused on and doing now is we have a lot of we call tech days where, again, maybe customers aren't asking the questions. So we try to bring, you know, either tech modules or machines or have them come to our facility to really discuss functionality of machines, efficiencies, functionalities, where the industry is going. And I think from a machine builder standpoint, sometimes, again, they're building a machine and they maybe get stuck in a little bit of a rut. Yeah, I think what we've experienced over the last few years, and COVID drove some of this as well, with more remote contact and again, talking maybe more technical, I think would be getting up to speed on where we're at today. E-mobility is another one that's, coming up, maybe more hybrid solutions and things of that nature.
How often do you
Okay.
guys do tech days?
So we do tech days once a quarter out west. So our tech day consists of, depending on the customer. So we have gone on site with various machines, or we have a big one coming up in May where we'll have 3 customer machines at our facility here in Cheney, and then we'll invite, again, our customer base to come in to talk about what we did on these various machines. So we'll have an
Nice.
autonomous or a semi-autonomous vehicle here. we'll have another ag machine here, and then a small excavator that we did that'll be here. So customers can see what kind of the functionalities we did, some of the newer technologies as well. And it gives them a chance to, we have room up here, thankfully. We can actually get out and let people drive and play on the machines.
Do you
Yeah, that's a
record any
great
of
way to
these?
showcase product and your product offerings and that sort of thing. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is fun. You plan a barbecue, and I think too it gives people a chance to intermix. I think we've seen too, even sometimes we have competitors, so to speak, but it's a really good venue for these guys to exchange ideas. They all face the same issues, right? And I think as we move forward, it's all, there's cost pressure, there's government regulation, they all face the same. And I think it's a nice venue we've seen too, especially at night. They have a few beers. They all talk about, again, their issues, right? And maybe solutions.
Alan and I'll wait for our May invitation for beers and barbecue.
Yeah.
Meghann, you're certainly invited. Alan, we have to talk about.
Real
Works
nice.
for me.
Real nice. Quickly, do you record any of these?
No, unfortunately, that's a great question. No, we haven't in the past, but we are discussing that right now because
Great. I think
we've
that would
missed an
be
opportunity. You're right.
yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
could market that for you for the fee,
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured that.
Hey, but before we actually started recording, we talked a little bit about younger people coming into the industry, and so I wanted to ask you, for a young person coming into the industry, where should they concentrate? What should they lean into?
That's a great question. So what we're seeing is, so we've hired some young engineers recently, and I would say they have more of an electric background with maybe a minor in mechanical. So what we're seeing with, I think maybe I don't want to call it revolution, but the advent of electronics coming more and more on these machines. So for us today, we're doing more and more autonomous, or at least semi-autonomous machines. And yeah, we're getting more and more into, programming, computer or not computer, camera systems, recognition systems. So really it's more, I would say today, it's more of an electronic focus than more of mechanical, I would say. And I think as the chips become faster, less costly, I think we're going to see that even get more and more integrated into machines. But it is an exciting, I mean, to be honest, we struggle. I mean, we talked about that a little bit. We struggle with people. And I think we don't do a very good job, I don't think, from a fluid power standpoint, even talking about some of these things. I think, younger people that I talk to, when you talk about fluid power, again, they think just purely hydraulics, right? And some of them don't even understand it. They still think, oh, these guys are from the 50s, it's gear pumps, it's dumb, right? Kind of dumb hydraulics. I don't think from an industry standpoint either, we do a very good job promoting ourselves and where we're at today. I mean, I would still consider myself a dumb hydraulics guy, but there are some pretty smart electronic guys out there.
There sure are. Yeah.
There,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Certainly. So if you could give then one piece of advice to someone entering the fluid power industry now, what would that be?
So if you were to ask me 5 years ago, I would have said, hey, stay out. No, I think people that you look around, people that get in it, stay in it. And I would really encourage somebody to, you get in and and really suck knowledge from, again, guys like myself, guys like Alan that have been around for a while. It's still an exciting industry. I think one of the perceptions we get into sometimes is, again, it's an old dying, fluid power's old, it's dying on the vine, etc. And I think, like I said, I think for young people getting in, I mean, there's so many different avenues and exciting things. I mean, with e-mobility becoming more and more prevalent, and this ties into the automotive side, coming into the fluid power side. I think for us here in the office, autonomous vehicles is extremely exciting. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's fun to work on a vehicle. And then we just had the opportunity to work on one where we sat in California in a driver's seat, so to speak, driving a machine in Australia. I mean, it was pretty cool, right?
That's neat.
So it's not the same as it was even 5 years ago. And then hydrogen's coming on, we're getting more into as hydrogen grows, I think there's going to be another whole opportunity. The data center boom is another great opportunity. So there's some exciting things happening.
Yeah,
It's
data
not,
centers and power gen.
I'm sorry?
So data centers and power gen
Yes.
are
Yes,
surely on the uptick here.
absolutely. And there's really some really, I would say, exciting new technologies that are being prototyped right now that makes it fun. There's some exciting things going on in those sectors for sure.
So, we talked about positions and filling positions and challenges when you're talking about hiring engineers. So, would you say that the role that has been hardest to replace in the organization would
Yes,
be yes,
yes.
as
Engineering,
opposed to sales talent?
I would say maybe sales engineers. So when I got started in the business, I look back, I would consider myself, folks around us, competitor. We were all sales engineers. And I think as things are today, fluid power companies aren't hiring get engineers anymore to go out in the field, right? And I think even for us, we have a hard time replacing folks in the field experience. It's difficult. And I think, even internally in some of our product divisions, it's difficult to get engineering for sure. And I see two big gaps. I think on the inside, if you will, and just even in development, whether it be valve development, pump development, things of those nature, it's difficult to find people. But certainly on the sales side, it's very, very difficult to find what I would consider a sales engineer, somebody that can actually go out, and designs, again, drop a circuit, even simple circuit. It's difficult to find those people.
Well, you talked a little bit about this earlier, and that's consolidation in the industry. You talked about distributorships being brought up. How do you feel it's impacted your organization, and is it good or bad?
Yeah, I think it's been difficult, I would say. I think, Alan, what makes it difficult is the relationships are gone. So what we see happening, and I've seen this even within HYDAC, right? Some of our distributorships that have been, let's say, purchased when they were sole proprietorships, you had a personal relationship. You had a very good, I would call it a very good working relationship. And as these consolidations take place, the people are gone, and it's not just people; it's product lines. So you get people that maybe buy 4 or 5 distributorships up and consolidate them. Then they go through a product line, validation, right? What do we want to keep? What do we want to get rid of? And I think it makes it very difficult for a manufacturer, especially some of this. I think HYDAC is fortunate enough, we're diversified enough where we're attractive. But I think if you're one of the maybe niche manufacturers, right? Where you're only making maybe it's just filters, let's say. It's very difficult to compete now because maybe your sole distributorship's been bought up and now they're looking at it saying, do we really need these guys? We have 3 others that are producing X, and yeah, it's gonna there'll be, I think there'll not only distributor consolidation, but there's going to be continued fluid power supply based consolidation as well. No question. And again, keeping up with technologies, right, is the other thing. If you're not, I think from a fluid power supplier standpoint too, you've got to keep growing. The industry is changing, technologies are changing, and you can't be stagnant either. You've got to also be, again, spending money either acquisition wise or R&D wise to keep up with some of the new technologies as well. Or, you end up dying on the vine.
What have you run into, if anything, with supply chain challenges out of curiosity?
That's a great question. Supply chain has been tough. I mean, I would say it wasn't just even COVID. I mean, I would say the last 10 years even. I mean, we've seen ebbs and flows, right? And we've seen some of the supply chain issues or even manufacturing issues in the United States pose issues. Obviously, China, everybody talks about China, right? And certainly for us, we don't do a lot out of China, but it's a low cost country. It's sketchy. The supply chain there is very, I would say, inconsistent. We have a number of customers that get things from China, and kind of what you hear from there is, oh, you know what, the first 6 months, great. The next month, terrible. But the world is changing. Europe is not the same manufacturing base as it used or once was, the powerhouse. And I think, in today's environment politically, I think the US has a chance to, maybe reestablish itself at some degree. So we're not so reliant. I mean, some of the, I would say, low cost countries, it's it's hit and miss. And we certainly had our issues, no question. Obviously the tariffs now are another
Yeah.
huge issue, and it is what it is, but it's, again, it's a cost. It's a tax, if you look at it, it's a tax, right? That we're all paying. Um, again, will that drive innovation and manufacturing back to the US? I think remains to be seen. And I would say from our perspective, we are starting to see the number of projects, I would say, starting to come to maybe not to fruition, but at least in the design standpoint in the US. So I think, again, we'll wait and see, right?
Good.
But supply chain for sure. I think we've all experienced it.
Yeah.
Not so great.
What's the most underrated skill in fluid power?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, the ability to pick up the damn phone and call somebody. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I hate to say as old as I am, I'm still pick up the phone. And that's maybe another thing that's changed over the years. The texting, the emails. I mean, I have a number of, again, young engineers that I know very well when I see them, but I get no communication other than text. I have one kid that texts me, and again, various times a day, the weekend, but that's how they communicate. And it's still a struggle for me. I mean, I'm still pick up the phone and 5 minute, whatever, 5 minute, 2 minute conversation. Instead, we're sending 20 texts to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think
My
that's
thumbs.
something that's coming back around full circle too.
I sure hope
so.
so.
Yeah. Because my thumbs
More
don't work
people
real
are
well on those
preferring,
little letters.
yeah, preferring communication, feedback loop, that sort of thing. I think
Yeah.
that's
Well, the email's gotten crazy, right? I mean, now it's chains and chains of emails, right? And we
meetings and
experienced that within
emails.
HYDAC. It's crazy. And then they get mixed up. You don't even know what's going on anymore. Yeah. But I will say I think the same. I mean, I think the maybe human communication is coming back a little bit, which is good. I mean, Alan's
Part of
still
that I think
using
is due
dial-up,
to
right?
junk in the inboxes too,
Yeah.
weeding through all that stuff. I mean, I think people would just rather talk to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so like I think Alan's still on dial-up instead of getting at least even 5G.
He still sends faxes.
So
More than I make in 2 months.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Which you're still overpaid, by the way.
Don't say a thing, Meghann.
But I will say too, I think, for people getting in, I would still say when you look at the fluid power industry, for the most part, the people you deal with, whether it be on the customer side, manufacturing, supply, I will still say is the best. People, I think, in this industry are pretty genuine for the most part and in a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun end of the day. I think standing here today, I could still say we work hard and we play hard.
You fall in love with the people. That's the one thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. The people in this industry, again, are pretty darn good.
Well, hey, Jason, we appreciate you. I know you're busy and very glad that you took some time out to join us today.
Absolutely. No, it's a pleasure. Absolutely. Hope you have me back again before I retire.
I know you were probably headed to the gym.
Absolutely, Alan.